All right, good morning. We'll brief you on the details as we know them of the officer-involved shooting that occurred on May 6th in the 2600 block of Robert B. Cullum Boulevard. This is the fourth officer-involved shooting involving a Dallas police officer in 2023. On May 6th, at around 3:05 a.m., Dallas police responded to Robert B. Cullum Boulevard and 2nd Avenue for a man shooting a handgun at the intersection. At 3:11 a.m., Dallas police received another 911 call at the same location, stating the suspect had shot out the window of a vehicle at a business in the 2600 block of RB Cullum. The preliminary investigation determined at 3:20 a.m., officers Jesse Custer, Grant Sabatino, and Daniel Lopez arrived at the scene and found the suspect, 53-year-old Chris Green, and started issuing commands. Green started yelling incoherently at the officers and walking away from them. At 3:21 a.m., Green then fired a single shot into the air. After firing, Green tucked the gun under his arm and started to walk towards 2nd Avenue. Officers continued to issue verbal commands. Green to put down the gun and to not reach for the gun. Green was at the intersection of 2nd Avenue and RB Cullum when he made a statement claiming the officers would get shot as well. The suspect then started to walk toward an unoccupied vehicle, stopped at the traffic signal of the intersection. Green continued to walk from officers, and officers feared the suspect would hurt himself, someone else, or one of the officers. And officers can be heard on body-worn camera saying the suspect, quote, is reaching for it. The officers fired at the suspect, hitting him in the lower body. Green continued to be non-compliant with officers, and they struggled to put him into handcuffs before administering first aid to him. He was taken to a local hospital where he was listed in stable condition. Green will be charged with deadly conduct, criminal mischief, possession of methamphetamine, and discharge of a firearm in certain municipalities. Green's weapon was recovered at the scene. The investigation is ongoing and is being investigated by the Dallas Police Special Investigations Unit. The Dallas County District Attorney's Office was notified and responded to the scene and will conduct their own investigation. The Office of Community Police Oversight was notified and also responded to the scene. Before we play the video, as I've said before, this is never our intended outcome, but these are the types of calls that our brave men and women face every day. This is their reality. They put their lives on the line every time they put this uniform on to keep our city and our residents safe. Still, each day they do so because this is their calling. Protecting and serving the people of Dallas is what they chose and what they want to do. We'll now play the body-worn camera footage, and I'll open up to some questions.
No shirt, jeans, shoes, gun in the air, shot employees vehicle. Suspect last seen on Miami walking back to a second after he was in the air. That's got my name.
Hey, get down on the ground! Get down on the ground! Hey, get down on the ground! Hey, get down on the ground! Hey, Custer, stay back, stay back. Hey, look, you got me in trouble. Get down on the ground. Hey, get down on the ground. Get down on the ground. He's on his way. Get down on the ground. Hey, he's on his way. Listen to me. Listen to me. He's on his way. Get down on the ground right now. Take it from me. Hey. Hey, he's on his way. Keep your hands up. Keep your fucking hands up. Hey, Alpha 227, he's got a gun in his hand. Drop the gun! Drop the fucking gun! He just shot us. Drop the fucking gun now! Drop the fucking gun! Drop the fucking gun! Second and Sonny, RB Cullum, let's go, cover for 3. Hey, get down the ground! Don't fucking point it at me! Don't fucking point it! Don't fucking point it! Put it down! Put it down! Hey, get down the ground! Don't fucking reach for it! Don't fucking reach for it one more time! Get shot! Hey! Don't reach for it! Hey, get down the ground! Reach for it, reach for it!
Take that from around my knee. Take it around my leg. Investigation. That's why you Stop that man. Y'all stick. My name is Chris Green. Nothing wrong with me. I'm Chris Green. I'm born in 1969. I'm 15 years old. I'm 15 years old.
Shot employees with suspect last sitting on Saeed.
That's him? I said that's not my thing. Alpha 32, hey, on the ground! Hey! Alpha 32, follow commands. Hey! Get out of the street! Drop the gun! Drop the fucking gun! Drop the fucking gun now! Drop the fucking gun! Hey, get down the ground! You reach out one more time, get shot! Hey! Get on this fucking ground! Get on it! It's got you!
Did you get the gun? Yeah.
We have one in custody. No officer will general.
So just a little bit on the individual's criminal history that are apropos to the case. Aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, unlawful possession of a firearm by a felon, and assault family violence. And with that, I'll open up to questions. Yes?
Like he had some component of mental health issue here. Can you talk about the dangers that citizens and police face when it comes to people with mental health having access to weapons? The shooter might have also had mental health issues. Can you address that?
Well, I'll say this, particularly on this case, we don't have evidence that obviously we saw erratic behavior. The individual also was in possession of methamphetamine. So there wasn't dynamic. I mean, not to say that mental illness didn't play a role. Could have also been a combination of mental illness and some sort of methamphetamine-induced psychosis, which occurs as well. So we're unclear on that, but we know that he was we know that he was in possession of methamphetamine. He could have very well been under the influence of methamphetamine. But in answer to your original question, obviously mental health is a huge issue. Mental health issues and access to firearms is actually is a grave concern. The danger our officers face every day, as you saw just now, is incredible. Again, now this is the fourth officer-involved shooting on individuals that are acting erratic and shooting firearms in front of my officers. Incredibly dangerous. Proud of the officers and their actions, and again, but they do this every day. These are the dangers they're facing every day, and unfortunately, we're out in front again talking about another officer-involved shooting with regards to an individual with a firearm shooting it in front of my officers. It's very dangerous. It's a dangerous time.
What can you talk to about citizens that all the guns and the gun violence that we're seeing across this nation, and citizens just feel like they're not protected. They're living in fear. Can you talk a little bit about gun violence in this country?
Obviously, gun violence is an extraordinary, it's the biggest issue in American law enforcement right now. And I'm not just talking about just here in the city of Dallas, but with my major city chief colleagues around the country. Obviously a concern. There's a lot of firearms in circulation in the country. There's a lot of individuals that have no business having access to them, which is a concern as well. But as you've heard me say many times, we have individuals that are men and women take off our streets that commit aggravated assault with firearms, only to be back out in the street in a few weeks. We don't get to say we take gun crime seriously when that continues to happen. And so when you have to look at, yes, is there sensible things that we should be doing for gun reform and things of that nature? Absolutely. And Major City Chief stands behind that, sensible things that we can do. But the other side of it, too, is the accountability piece plays a large role also. But mental illness and access to firearms is certainly a grave concern, not just for us here in Dallas, but around the country. Yes.
I noticed on the body-worn camera, when the officer was in the car, the screen on the computer was blank. Evidently, the computer dispatch was not operating. Was that any role in this case, and is that still the case right now with computer dispatch?
Well, let me just say this. I know there'll be a lot of questions with the ransomware. I don't want to get ahead of council. Obviously, it's going to be a topic that we talk about public safety, but certainly it's impacted us. It's impacted us in DFR quite a bit. But no, the men and women continue to answer the call as they can. Listen, I remember starting off as an officer in the early 90s, and one of the first things that we had to do in the field training program is we didn't get access to computers for about 2 weeks. To recognize and understand that sometimes technology is going to have to go down and you're going to have to do something for it. And so we need to have that mindset, continuing to understand that technology is not foolproof, but certainly it definitely impacted us to the extent that it has. I don't want to get in front of council and public safety. We'll have the discussion this afternoon.
Is it still down?
We're trying to get it all back up. I know that the patrol cars were getting touched over the weekend, and we're going to continue to do our best to get CAD up to 100%. But again, no more questions on ransomware. We're going to have that discussion of public safety. I don't want to get ahead of council.
The Allen incident that happened over the weekend was clearly a very bad situation. Typically, police from many different agencies are involved. We saw that many were. Would Dallas typically be involved in an incident like that?
If it's been requested, I tell you this, the second that I heard about it, I actually had conversations with my upper command to ensure that we reached out to Allen if they needed any assistance whatsoever. And obviously they were getting a lot of help from the sheriff's office and from Plano PD, and then obviously the DPS as well. And so certainly we reach out all the time, particularly with agencies that may not, that are smaller agencies that may not have the resources. Certainly we're going to lend a hand to any of our allied agencies as we can, and we did reach out.
Would you have been in a position to do something under these circumstances?
I'm sorry?
Would you have been in a position to do something in Allen under these circumstances?
Oh, absolutely. We would have found a way. Absolutely, we would have found a way. Yes, we absolutely could have assisted under these circumstances.
Chief, the Allen shooter was from Dallas, may have gone to Bryan Adams High School. What interaction did you have with him?
I don't want to get ahead of DPS in their investigation. just like I wouldn't want them getting ahead of our investigation on answering questions. As soon as I get more information, there's so many moving pieces. We're still waiting to get full briefings on it whatsoever so we can put everything together. And as soon as we do, I'm sure we'll have more answers for you. But I don't want to get too far ahead of their investigation. And obviously, they're working in conjunction with the FBI. So I want to make sure that, that we don't get ahead of anything. Yes, sir.
Everton Daly with the Dallas Cowboys. The person who was shot, is it clear exactly why he was in the area? If there any more details on that?
Unclear at this time. Obviously, we had those 911 calls about the individual shooting randomly, and obviously shooting a car out at the restaurant there in the parking lot. And so, unclear right now. As we get more information as to why the individual was in the area and what was going on is fine. But again, obviously, mental health plays a role in this. There's no way to say it doesn't. However, where that mental health issue comes from, whether it's from some sort of mental health issue that the individual had, or whether it came from the fact that he was in possession of methamphetamine and was drug-induced, that'll all come out as the investigation proceeds.
And a quick follow-up question. Can you elaborate on, if you can, on why the officers decided to fire? Was it because he appeared to be heading towards the car with the driver stopped at the light?
Well, we're still in the middle of the investigation, but obviously when you have an individual such as this that's showing disregard with a firearm, not only to the officers, but then heading towards the intersection where there's an individual in the car, he's already shown a propensity to have shot out another window. Certainly, I would imagine in the minds of the officers is the fact that they're there to defend people. Here, I'll say this, when we talk about these issues, particularly, different than the Allen situation, but officers have to act quickly. Because if that individual does end up firing around into that car, that's what our officers are here for. And so I'm sure that played a part in their minds of saying we need to stop this individual and put their lives on the line to stop that threat from possibly hurting an innocent bystander. I'm sure that played a role in their decision making.
Chief, was there damage to that passing car? The guy had been firing his gun. Was there any problem for those folks in that car?
Well, I think the problem, obviously, for them is just the individual with a firearm that was recklessly. I don't believe that particular car that you saw on the scene, I don't believe he has shot at that car yet. But, as the officers pointed out, when they made a comment that he looked like he was going for it again, he must have practiced it many times. He had it tucked into his arm as he's pointing his finger at officers in the dark. I think our officers used incredible restraint before and after the shooting. But again, there's no damage that we can see to that car.
They bailed out of there fast, the people in that car.
What's that?
The car left pretty quickly after witnessing all of it.
I certainly can't blame them for doing that. But certainly, I think all of that, the totality of the circumstances of everything with this individual. And again, I'd like to say that this doesn't happen often, but it happens more often than not. And again, not our intended outcome, but our officers did their duty.
Chief, for clarity, the officers put a tourniquet on the individual's leg after he was shot, right? Is that what it was?
Yes. Again, they provided, as you can see, the individual continued to struggle even after having been shot. And so the officers did everything they could for first aid.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.